Hi everyone, welcome back to the science online lesson after a small vacation. Hope everyone is fine. Hope all of you have not forgotten that we were studying Unit 8, What's in Rocks. Now let us start a new lesson of the same unit, the rock cycle, page 100 to 101. Lesson objective: to identify the evidence for rock cycling. To discuss about rock cycle, open page 100 in your textbook. Have you ever imagined how Earth was formed? Now let us see the story of our Earth. Imagine it's 5,000 million years ago. A great swirl of dust and gas comes together in the space. Swirl means something that is moving in a twisting pattern, like in a spiral pattern, a circular pattern. It is called swirl. It forms our solar system. Most of the dust and the gas ends up in the sun, but some is left over. The gravity pulls this gas and dust into clumps. What is clump? Clump means group. Okay, the gravity is pulling this dust and the gas into clumps. The clumps become planets. After this, the clumps became the planets, and that's how the Earth was born. Okay, the geologists investigate what happened next. They use rocks and the clues they hold to help tell the story of our Earth and answer questions like these. What moves mountains? Why do oceans appear and disappear? How has our climate changed over the past few million years? Okay. Now, let us see the evidence. Okay, we have learned about so many things, that this is igneous rock, this is metamorphic rock, sedimentary rock. There should be some evidence. There should be some evidence, right? Like how these were formed. So let us see some of the evidences. 2000 years ago, the Greek scientist Strabo watched Mount Etna erupting. He saw hot lava spilling from the volcano. It cooled and hardened into solid rock. 8,000 years ago, Ibn Sina of Kazakhstan observed layers of rock. He wrote, this was his words, we see that some mountains appear to be piled up layer by layer, and it is therefore likely that the clay from which they were formed was itself at one time arranged in layers. Okay? One layer was formed first, and then at a different period, a further layer was formed and piled upon the first, and so on. 800 years ago, Jushi, it's actually written, so spelling is different, but it is actually a Chinese name. It is pronounced as Jushi, found fossilized seashells on mountain tops. He realized his shellfish once lived in the sea and explained his observation by saying, everything at the bottom came to be at the top. Okay, whatever that was bottom, it came to be at the top of the mountain. Now let us answer the textbook questions. Which evidence shows that igneous rocks form from hot liquid rock? Okay, what was the evidence? We already have discussed before. Strabo's observations of lava cooling and forming solid rock is evidence that igneous rocks are formed from hot liquid rock. Why did Ibn Sina think that sedimentary rocks are laid down in layers? Because he observed that the layers of rocks in mountains, he had observed many layers of rocks in the mountains. That's why he thought that the sedimentary rocks are laid down in layers. Then question number 3. What evidence shows that some mountaintop rocks were once under the sea? This is because 800 years ago, Jushi found fossilized seashells on mountaintops. We already discussed that he has found some seashells in the mountaintops. That is why he thought that some mountaintop rocks were once under the sea. Hope you're clear with this. Let us move to the next topic. The scientists continue to collect evidence about how rocks are made. In the 1700s, British geologist James Hutton thought about all the evidence. He combined all the evidence. Eventually, he developed the theory of rock cycle. This rock cycle describes how rocks change and are recycled into new rocks over millions of years. Rock cycle, once again I am telling you, rock cycle describes how rocks change. It describes how the rocks are changed and are recycled into new rocks, how the new rocks are formed over millions of years. Of course, no one can see what is happening deep underground, right? We cannot see what is happening under the ground, but the scientists work this out by looking at rocks formed long ago which have come to the surface. Rock cycle. We have learned about weathering and erosion in the previous lesson. Hope you remember about it. The weathering and the erosion wear down mountains. Okay, the weathering means the breaking of rocks. The larger rocks are broken down into smaller rocks. That process is called weathering, and it is carried by the wind, water, etc. And this process is called erosion. And then the withering and erosion wear down mountains. The sediments make sedimentary rocks. Then that is how the sediments are made, and the sediments make sedimentary rocks. Under the Earth's surface, the high temperature and pressure, because of high temperature and pressure, this sedimentary rocks as well as igneous rocks will get converted into metamorphic rocks. And then some rocks that sink deep under the sea surface, there are some rocks which are under the sea surface, under the Earth's surface. What they will happen, they will get hot, they will get very hot, and then they will melt, and that's how the magma is formed. Actually, we have learned the hot liquid rock is called magma. The rock that are under the Earth's surface, they will get hot and they will melt to make magma. The magma is pushed upwards. Then the magma is pushed upwards by the pressure and convection. Some of the magma cools. We know that some of the magma will cool and they will solidify underground. The magma will cool under the ground itself and they will solidify and they will make a rock. Such kind of rocks are called intrusive rocks, intrusive igneous rocks. Hope you remember about this. We had discussed about igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, metamorphic rocks, all these rocks in the previous lessons. Hope you remember about all these rocks. I'm proceeding by the assumption that you know all about all these things. Okay, then the next type of rock is the rest of it, that the rest of the magma will come out of the volcano and they solidify on the surface. And such kind of rocks are called extrusive igneous rocks. Okay, and then this is how the igneous rocks are made. To summarize, magma cools and solidifies. This magma will cool and solidify to form igneous rocks. There are two types of igneous rocks, intrusive as well as extrusive igneous rocks. Okay, and then the weathering and erosion will wear down mountains, forming sedimentary rocks. Under the Earth's surface, what will happen? The high temperature and pressure will convert igneous and sedimentary rocks into metamorphic rocks. This is called the rock cycle. Okay, the rock is getting converted from one form to another as the time passes. This process is called the rock cycle. And then what happens? At any time, the huge forces from inside the Earth may push rocks upwards to make mountains. Because of the huge force inside, what will happen? The rocks will be pushed upwards to make the mountains, and this process is called uplift. So any type of rock, sedimentary, metamorphic or igneous rocks, may end up on a mountain top. Write down in order 3 processes that make sedimentary rocks. Hope you know about all the 3 processes: weathering, erosion, sedimentation, and then cementation. Cementation is optional as they have asked you only 3 processes. Describe how metamorphic rocks are formed. This was explained in the previous lesson itself. I also explain now also. Metamorphic rocks are formed when high temperature and pressure change other types of rocks. How do rocks from under the sea get to mountain tops? Huge forces from inside the earth push rocks upwards to make mountains, and this is called uplift. Now let us see a video to understand the concept of rock cycle.
Rocks are slowly but constantly changing in something known as the rock cycle. The rock cycle begins with magma, or hot melted rock, deep beneath the Earth's surface. This magma becomes crystallized, becoming igneous rock. These rocks begin to erode or break down into small pieces because of wind, water, or other forces. The small fragments of rock are carried away as sediment when water passes over them and are deposited in layers, which eventually become sedimentary rocks. Then, some sedimentary rocks are pushed below the surface due to tectonic activity, where they are exposed to heat and pressure, transforming them into metamorphic rocks. If the rocks are buried even deeper, they may melt and form magma, starting the cycle all over again. Of course, sedimentary and metamorphic rocks can be eroded into sediment, and igneous rock can become metamorphic rock or lava. But one way or another, rocks all over the world keep changing from one form to the next.
Hope you are clear with rock cycle. I have uploaded the notes along with video. Please write the notes in the notebook and submit it on or before 20th April 2020 by using Edunation. If you have any doubt regarding using Edunation, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.